has published more than 400 books and has supervised postgraduate researchers in 10 disciplines of technology studies. So now to its keynote lecture.
So, yeah, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammed from Kuala Lumpur, northern part of Kuala Lumpur. Our university is called International Islamic University. Malaysia is very important. Malaysia. We have students from 115 countries, quite diversified. We have a large, what may I call it, campus, a very beautiful campus in the tropics. We have approximately 14 faculties. One of the faculties is in theology, social sciences, and engineering as well. We have in our faculty, we have approximately 5 departments. These departments collaborate on interdisciplinary research. So our PhD is called PhD in engineering, then PhD in a specific engineering. We work on medical research. We have a lot of products also as well for COVID, for tropical diseases like dengue fever. We have a very side and electronics group that teaches medical engineering, focuses in these areas. I took a few for the last 10 years in approximately a very large number of students. In Asia, the research is not like the research in Asia uses a lot of students. A lot of students, when you come to a lab, you find professors with 20 PhD students and 20 postdocs. So this is very common in Malaysia. In fact, some research universities in Malaysia have 50 PhD students under the supervision of one person. So it's a very challenging work. So I'm going to go through first on our back started in AI for early breast cancer detection. And our sisters might find this work interesting. And then our work with the University of Surrey in the UK and free universities on the multimodal for classification, detection, segmentation, and gum disease. And then some experience on personal experience with students, stocks, include to the curriculum, which I find interesting from the lecture from Prof. Kamal from Mandipur. Because we've gone through similar challenges, so I will brief you on what we have done. Breast cancer actually, the idea came out by the Egyptians 3,000 years ago. And sit on the breast, and to find out which region is fast. The region that runs fast is that's the exact location of the cancer. It was later became like time. The process, the mortality rate, back then, but obviously it is very high. I don't think anyone survived it that day. It's not a disease. It is not a temporary disease. It has been as long as probably humanity existed. It's a very serious disease. 2022, we had 2.3 cases. We had 2.3 cases, 670,000 mortalities. So it's not a joke. It's a cause of death. 80% of occurring after the age of 50. So survival rate so without protection, it's really hard to survive it. The standard for breast cancer detection basically is mammograms. It has been there since the 60s. It has three major issues. It is not good. It doesn't with age as we age. It doesn't city with tissue density and family history. So detection, 25% of cases, if it's detected, you can survive. The dosage of and show itself. So then we can CT, which we expose the patient to high doses of X-ray. This has been to 70%, but still, and some affects patients find challenging because they have to go to bed for some time. The other forms is MRI, which is for after chemotherapy. So it's early detection. So the challenge of detection is still there. And some people are claustrophobic, so they cannot, they don't feel comfortable sitting in a place, during confined place, closed place. And also it's not cheap, so it's not something that you can get. So you have to go to a centralized hospital, you have to queue, it's in the system. If it's in Turkey, so you have to wait for appointment, and it's published time, so it's at risk. Then can ultrasound. Ultrasound basically is a safest form of detecting breast cancer, but also has issues. It doesn't detect breast cancer it can detect breast cancer in breast tissue, which obviously surgery, it has been and more comfortable for the patient. Detect cancer only. So histology imaging biopsy is very full process. Itself, biopsy might even cause cancer. If you have to look at the procedure itself. So there's a lot of risks that is involved in the process. And quite often there is a disagreement with pathologists on the decision whether there is or there is not, especially for early cases. So it's not very favorable for it. So I entered thermography. Thermography 10 years back became very popular. One research was everybody jumped wagon looking at the process of detecting breast cancer with thermography. But thermography enough, so we have to resort to AI. It's a process work done by cornerstone project students, FYP students, master students, and PhD students. So there's a lot of pay. There's a lot of work, which results from so many students. So if you find the material too technical, we can do it very quick, but we can also try to concentrate on things that might interest everybody. Automation is important because it is 100%. So we have to use automation. It's basically automation. It automates procedure. And this automated. So several objectives. The first objective is to test can be a solution for areas. Can send them through camera, infrared camera, like with a flow, so to breast cancer. Family was very famous, and Inception family was just starting, so you study Inception family version 3, version 4, and version 4 by so look at the performance speed in terms of speed, at the same time, and at the same time, so we had to choose inception, something called inception, which is one of sometimes so it uses a lot of computation. We try to simplify it, and we tested several optimization methods. First things we found out that stood up very well. The inception before was in terms of complexity, calculations required as inception 3. We looked at time saved, issues for the testing and so on and so forth, and this turns that we took further to look at the segmentation. So an AI that specializes in segmentation, and deep learning that specializes in segmentation. It's all based on something called UNet. And UNet, simple level, is very efficient in segmentation. So sophisticated versions of this family, like so with special attention, as these are like two version with steroids, so they're very helpful as well. But sometimes using the powerful can get results. The experience of land. and took a long time for us to learn. A field in medicine and education to allow a female doctor and a female physician to acquire thermal images in the convenience of a private clinic. So the solution was to privacy. So we started with segmentation. We tested the models, we found out the best models, we have modified, looked at its ability for segmentation, resilience, robustness against, and we can define by techniques. You can clearly see simplicity for the so to this further and to study which I call thermal physical properties of the skin of the breast tissue itself. So we are looking at this issue in two ways. One, to develop a solution to look at these thermal physical properties. We used COMSOL 5.3 for the model and to look at the tumor depth, the tumor size, the blood perfusion, the temperature, and how do they affect the skin surface of the breast, temperature of the breast. Because sonography is basically a reflection of an image from the skin, and it gives you pixels that you can set it to certain colors that tells you this region is very hot, this region is cool, this region is the coolest, and so on and so forth. So then an experiment. In this experiment, we used this that you see here at the bottom to simulate the breast cone, and then this experiment, a mannequin. This mannequin uses to which may call it the power supply to simulate which may call it in front on the skin, and we try to detect it. Things we found out that large breasts have a greater surface, they have a greater surface, and therefore temperature quickly dissipates. So it's not easy to detect breast cancer in large breasts, number one. Number two, what we look at basically is contrast in temperature, the difference in temperature. How does the temperature drops? The rate of drop is what gives us the shape, so we can estimate the size and we can estimate the depth as well. Okay, so we tested several samples that we have 5 cm, 5 millimeter, and this is 10 cm. It's impossible for them to detect it. So we need to resort to something which is called C2 cooling. C2 cooling is that we apply a gel to the skin to cool the skin surface temperature. And there's a procedure for the patient to take, the relax. There's also a procedure, resting time, the temperature, complex. And the camera moves like this in an arc. The patient sits comfortably, breathes comfortably. When he's come, then the image is acquired. All done by female clinicians, all done by female PhD students. So there's a lot of female hands here. The model, even on the AI. So once the properties are decided, we use the data developed to improve the model, and then we worked to acquire more data. Imagine we spent 300,000 ringgit. That is like $90,000, which is very cheap to acquire data. For many hospitals, we contacted many hospitals. The only hospital that agreed to work with us for a period of 5 months, 5.5 months, is in Shiraz, Iran. This is the only clinic that decided to work with us. We have tried in Malaysia with 3 major hospitals. Getting there is something easy in medicine. Getting from convincing the medical team to work scans and ultrasound, storage. So it took us time to go. So we had to this, and we started to go to sources. So we had to go. So So some doctors that are working with us, so you have to scan from the eyes. So we want to how does this affect the process of all stages? We studied several types of noise like Gaussian, sounds, spectral, sorting, forms of the this is a very serious issue. So storage of this data is very important and needs to be here. It's one of the lessons that were the hard way. So we had to besides the to in fact, we don't see many times the guy classifies the case as healthy and it's actually cancerous. The tumor is actually cancerous. So, so, so statement to extend for them. Something AI for robotic for high school students for and schools. So the clinics, physicians and engineers and medical doctors, they can schools and try to do this. It's survive. The rate is almost 100%. But you have to be the challenge is how to detect it. So stations on this decided to switch to a different kind of cancer. And then to a different grant. So grant to and the experimentation on the hospital, which is the teacher was sitting city to whom the claims was from stores, and we have also 500. So we got few hundred cases we studied, but we decided to keep this. So, so something like this. See, it was fine. So it's sensible that this is understood, but transmission is okay. So transmission is called AFIH, AFIH, which means a person and something to decline. So this work is patented. This still being tested for commercialization with the hospital. Then still, so to reduce AI to so this is start from before the piece of so for and faculty of dentistry, so it's not team and famous professor in dentistry, retired professor in University of Surrey. So we looked at issues like detection, classification. Some of the issues with the how we can classify center classify section 4 to so same to so on so forth and then segmentation. So each segmentation, each methodology adds value, adds value to understand. So a very famous issue, basically something called canal. Sometimes first, it has two canals. 60.6% of the teeth does have a second canal, but it's hidden. So when you cut the teeth, inject the which is treated, so to save this, we need to detect this very often missed this two canal. So we have used your five for detection of this, and so what we call it is another model besides 05 for the nasal buccal detection of the CBCT. I can slice it into two for first process, and then we turn and so go to now. So this will help the clinicians or the procedure to find the second canal and treat it as well. Also, looks to find which accessory canals that find regions of interest. So the classification student on the classification systems, you can see at the top. I think there is a laser here, right? Oh. So you can classify the canal itself is very. The structure is quite random; it's not uniform. So it has a length consistent canals. Sometimes it splits. You think you only have one canal, but you might have two branching. So it has a very complex structure. The two teeth have very complex structure from inside. So we come up with a classification standard for the system. From it was classification was automated, and classification as well. So find root and of the canal itself. So to get demographic information, the population over time and changes. So we need to do statistical expectation, selectivity, full effect, velocity as well. So this is work in progress because we are collecting samples, thousands and thousands of teeth. So in the hospital, we have a big clinic also as well, put chairs and do tests almost on the basis and suggestion of teeth. So and we have on the jaw, teeth, imaging, and so on and so forth. Also, interesting thing found out the simulation system, if you seconds. So it's very fast, very, very fast. So you can detect so the potential defines source, we can define the CCD, which is used in clinics. Besides microCD, which is basically search for infection, we can get skewed by the voxel size, CBCT. Also, the classification, so it has the students use it in time. So to for this and the and how they analyze the kids or the they should be followed and so on and so forth. So they can test their cognitive skills abilities to this information as well. So it will be interesting. So from this, so similar project called State University. Hospital, this is a university. And so here, as the so that it's exposed. So we do this at we do this at missions. We collected 2,000 we have to standardize sanitation position and processing and extend for parental bills to find the lift and to so two things from that. This is done manually. Probably 60% of procedures wrong and right results for the grading because the actually it is so sensitive uh, to approximately which is impossible to do. So the standard to adjust the standard on this, we found out that highest accuracy and false and so on and so forth. So this is basically apps that is tested in visual school and experiments. Only for students. We have a lot of applications, really applications. But experiments projects. So I'm telling you that because the first thing I learned is that 10 years, one product this is very clear. So with AI, especially if you're smarter and then strong push from below, it pushes. So AI is a powerful tool, very powerful tool if you want to use it. Okay, so the first thing is basically so second basically is we found out that it cannot for the it's too risky to you still can still competition by more skills provided by doctors. So the doctor so I find it practically nonsense. At least for now, 2026. Maybe in 10 years' time, 5 years' time, I don't know. But for now, no, doesn't work. Number one. Found out that students come from different come from different schools. Some come from private schools, some from schools, and also the grasp of different. The school is different. Some students are very hard. You have to push them to go back. Something's sleep at the lab. So interesting, and eventually they sleep over. She's getting there at 2 o'clock in the morning in the lab. So then, so she goes to the work. So it is different between students and excellent different time. Some students learn fast with AI. Some students achieve the same level, takes some time. So this is decided to choose decided to use students to learn. So have I won't say stupid students, but we don't have lazy students anymore. This is very interesting observation. Any student can be smart. Any student can be excellent producer of a high research and clinical work. So also in case evaluation, it has a AI at least cancer in fields. So it happens fast and saves time, it saves the information. Still have to go some procedure because you're not working with software anyway. So issues not with software. So the lag time is reduced to almost zero, see, from 39 minutes to 1.5 seconds. But there is a procedure, and this procedure which requires procedure. So this will take time for AI to master and to time for us to test machines to do this. At the rate of the see, it's purely analytical, so it's not possible now. Okay, so the 27 10 this is at least based on experience and and same thing. On the issue of professor, the issue of interdiscipline, there is a challenge. I either have to become a pathologist or I have to change the pathologist to a specialist. Become a dentist or I have to change the dentist to a specialist. You see? So this issue is very challenging for us right now. So I think courses is good, but the one is I think a bit extreme. Showing this case 15 years back, 20 years back, makes sense to teach standard engineering courses, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. Find the niche. So you have to it's like if you look at students intake and look at for it, it's like a sine wave, comes and goes. So sometimes it picks up, sometimes goes down. And we some questions, those programs going to exceed, and programs coming up. So it's education is very system to this. You have to courses that touches you. You have to embed courses to 6 level. AI also to prioritize policy. Because some of our students are what should I call it? Learning does the AI asking so many questions, thousands and thousands of questions, and when how does the AI use? So you can build a similar AI that does almost 90% of the functionality. And then students forget how this guy is technical. The original one. It is very complex. The change or the roots or the pace at which AI changing cybersecurity is massive and beyond comprehension, really. So AI is basically send this data. If you look at it's just a code. And by set of data. So I think yes, because right used to go and it 20 years back or 15 years back. Okay, so based on specialized project, education, it's all good. Decisions. Decision. Decision for quote for AI. Who's responsible? The doctor? There's no until now. There's no see. See. So these are things still resolved. So we have to for it's like a fight now. You need for to settle down. Once that is settled down, you see exactly your direction. Our approach is phases. We start introducing AI in almost all cases. Just specialized AI courses for machine It's used in all courses from 24 for the bachelor degree and for postgraduate courses. There are also a lot of concerns for us, at least from experience. The schedule, stress, the origination, issue, it suggest to turn themselves. Issues, vaccinations, some students practically cheat or assignments, projects. So what we do is for them, ChatGPT, which we call it AI, and size it, sizing, find out the truth, okay, verify the facts, okay, show me the situation, verify differences, and after you find the and so it takes them a lot of effort. So we reverse the game. So we force them to do, okay, it's assignment, and this assignment basically is done by AI issue. You convince this is your assignment, you have to stand up, you explain to me what's in this report. So it becomes a visual assessment. Also, we are maintaining students. Assessment is all hands-on the students and assessment. Also have issues with this thing, students, especially postgraduate, they get excited. You know, businessman, when you talk about money, businessman, he gets very excited, right? Postgraduate students get excited with publishing papers. It's like getting married. It's something very exciting for them. So once they get the first one, they're not satisfied. And then I got 4. So there is a issue students, especially if they like what they do. So this issue brought us to speed, and speed was our problems. It's assistance with AI. So it's costing our fighting a very shallow. There is no depth. You feel like you stand. For example, processing. Here they show you the signal. Here's the money. Here's the transformations. Here you know. Attack. So this is the issues that we face through teaching these courses. So and understand to find assist. Also, disclosure policy change on some for how much so so explain each feature you studied has its effect on the decision. How much? So then each feature exactly does affect the decision. So look at the so on and so forth. So this is basically a lot of research done into this with our students. Explainable AI. Without explaining also, just standards. Students, what they do, ChatGPT, it will sites from guidance, from websites, from commission materials, and at the same time from people research. So it's not true, it is not purely scientific. So sense there. So and also as students want to so to check it is public and itself. So it will introduce further bias into the model. So to do this, students is forced to work on an offline that how is the protecting the data administration procedure? Is there any so to show public violations? So we teach them except like, so this is this issue. So accepting of ChatGPT, feel like this guy is a monster. So he knows and stuff. So, and she just the structures come up. So actually, the information is very shallow. It doesn't hold most of the time. A lot of references are wrong. They accept things. So these things are very important. So also, it's inclusive. It's generative. The human anatomy, the structure for the females, is totally different from this. Whatever results we get, this is not zero. It doesn't work. So effort and a lot of money. So basically, this is sure system. I think 26, 27 are important. Education of medicine, education of health sciences, health education, and which does so in health and business. So 68% of health professionals are CI, so and even those who use it and found out scared to tell their colleagues that they use it too for medication. Okay, so we found out that decision where the main so decision for the is too risky because the failure rate is very high and sometimes it affects our life. So design from scratch for human machine collaboration. Okay. Also, you have to do it for evidence. Peer review. Suspected. Okay. Trust, but you need to verify. And first, submit to verify to me all the sources of every input. Okay. So once we center into students, into researchers, in students, I think a lot of things will change. This is what I'm important. Questions, I'll be glad to answer them. And also, I'm sorry, was too hot. It was short AI. I went to something specific and touches your life and basis, touches almost 50% of the society. Yes.
Detecting is very important in this area, and I need to know, is it possible to use this detecting in civil engineering, for example, to see how much steel stays in a column or beam, and to understand how is it possible to, in short time, this building is enough strong to earthquake resistance or not. In Turkey, this is a sometimes mainly a big issue, and I think it could be helpful. My wife is dentist, and I will send this information yes, to her. It is very surprising for me to see in teeth this detecting possible by AI. And why not, I think, in buildings, a civil engineer to detecting how much steel and what is the conditions that building to understand in short time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay. I'm not from civil engineering. Colleagues from mechanical faculty. And Uh, sort of, and still trying to cut KKR for and transportation. It's the organization responsible for constructions and all this. It's also an issue where you can find some houses buildings, 50-story buildings, rusted, stay because yes, to occupy the building, so they cannot sell condominiums. So because there is a structural issue, so I know that what I've seen, chairman, so engineering based on some features from sound and based on features they come and try to find out if they can take breaks and also not correct or called. So essentially so and it's also research. So some work for that on something like this. Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Nice. I have there are two things.
Yeah.
Congratulations. First, the question is, you said root canal could be a cause of this ailment. What about plant implants? Generally, doctors suggest implants as an alternative for root canal or maybe a permanent solution. Number two, my suggestion is you have brought out very good policy issues for the young researchers and contemporary researchers. If you can imbibe them into policy formulations and communications, I think that would be great service for the cause. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So going to the first issue, I think about the issue of the implants. And there's skin in any procedure, there is a risk to it. So if you go to a clinic that doesn't contain strict SOPs, standard process of which on the jaw and my fickle so it has to be SOPs, just like so these guidelines to follow procedures to protect yourself. Other than that, I have issues with for me and software engineer. I am not a dentist. I'm not a medical professional. I always call myself I am attendant. I understand. Serious another issue with dentist. This issue which is called the rater, inter-rater. Sometimes when classifying issues, decision. This guy doesn't agree with this guy. Okay? So we need to solve this issue. Besides this, and then besides this. So it's issue. So there are procedures for that. Issues that students go to so this. And it's very high. So they have to do clinical studies, plus research, plus teaching, plus consultancy, and so they have, so the commitment to each one becomes less. You see, so the internet issue becomes a very serious concern. I think my time is over. Yes, okay. Thank you very much. If you have further questions, yes.
Thank you very much for the presentation. Very interesting, very important. I would like to ask you how you treat confidentiality and data privacy issues, because I think that you have to save the data in order to train the.
Yes, yes, yes.
So.
Yes, okay, okay, all right, okay. So this is the actual issue, the issue of this cancer, this is the issue, privacy, the issue is actually privacy. Privacy. So it has the same so in solution with show the procedure, we develop for take the procedure and do the app, the calculation can send it to our lab, the server will give the results, and it will flag you. Please visit the clinic for further confirmation. You're okay. You understand? There is always this doubt. People, plastics used in dress, so they cause the rub against the weather, especially in the summer. This is issues. I have a wife, I have daughters, I have sisters, I have colleagues, female colleagues, all one. By the way, in IOM, 67% of our students are females. Okay, 70% of my colleagues are females in my department, engineering. And this is something very different 15, 20 years back. So STEM is invaded by females in Asia. It is not like in Europe. A lot of females are studying STEM courses. Okay, so this is the issues that you need to look at. It will only with the comfort in your home. If you download the app, you can just do it. And then if you see there's something, I have no take a double opinion. You have to go to the. Then you can go to MRI. You can go to mammograms. You can do CT scan. The doctor will decide what to do. Okay, so this is a helping aid, a diagnostic helping aid. It is not a decision maker. This is how we promote our AI. Never make decision. Only the professional will make decision. So we will help him. We will flag this. If you go to high school, there is a percentage that some females might have this. Understand? But when we detect it very early, you can save her life. So with this app, you can flag this issue. By the way, you know how thermography can be used in breast cancer? There was a football stadium. An oversized lady was passing by a thermal camera. The guy in the security was watching the thermal camera for guns and all this. He noticed the hot spot. Nervous. That's how people she had breast cancer. She didn't know this. Yeah, that's how it started. That's the interesting. It's by chance. Yes, please.
Yes, I am finishing second question after. Thank you. When will it be possible type of cells to see and maybe in handy in form to see as an application in a short time and not paying too much money or waiting too long? Will it be in short time possible for?
Difficult to tell the time because there is an approval procedure for anything that has to do with lab. Even for us as engineers and biomedical engineers, you support camera, sensor, anything. We have to have approval from entities like FCC. So, and they're similar in Malaysia and Turkey. There is an entity who's looking after drugs and food and all this. They give license to use. So they need to convince them. Even though technologies like thermography is very invasive, it's just looks at the heat radiated by your body. It just absorbs the image, creates a map, a heat map radiated by your own body. So it does not expose you to anything. Still, we need to require a very lengthy process for ethical proof. So I think definitely it will be used. Definitely the app would be public. Definitely the app. Our intention was to go to Islamic Development Bank to make it public. So anyone in rural Africa, in Asia, can use it. That was our intention. Hopefully, I think my time's up. If you have any further questions, I'll be glad to chat over coffee or tea after the class. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Huber. Chairman, contribution to our symposium. Women, session to title International Universities, Opportunities and Challenges. Session will be led by Associate Professor Kim Selçuk to the stage. The session will address education, scientific discovery, systems, science communication, technologies, structures.
Good afternoon, dear President and respected representatives of the Academy of Sciences and distinguished scholars and dear colleagues. Before we begin, I also would like to thank the Turkish Academy of Science and ASPA and Inter-Academy Partnership, the organizing committee, for organizing this conference and bringing these distinguished scholars from different parts of the world here. And now we will start our second session. The title is Artificial Intelligence in Higher Education, Opportunities and Challenges. It is a great honor for me to moderate this highly international interdisciplinary session. Also, I would like to extend my respect and gratitude to the Dr. Finoria Lego for this symposium is dedicated to, because she is also highly and deeply communicated to science literacy, open access, and combating misinformation through cooperation. And the themes of this symposium also highly represent the values she dedicated her life for advancing. And I hope we believe her commitment, her contributions to the international scientific community through collaboration continue to inspire us today. So I would like to invite our first presenter and speaker, Associate Professor Hande Alender from Middle East Technical University, where she serves as faculty member and vice dean faculty of engineering, and she will present from policy to practice, integrating AI into engineering education at Middle East Technical University. So, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for this nice introduction, and thank you for the organization of this event, and thank you for here. It's a great pleasure to be here today. So, yes, I am Hande Alemdar. I am a computer engineer in faculty at computer engineering. I am an AI researcher, but I have two hats. I am also the vice dean of the engineering faculty, which is one of the biggest engineering faculties in Turkey, and I assume also in the world. We have 14 different engineering departments, and we have more than 1,000 engineering students, so we have a lot to teach them. So, as we all there's this paradigm shift now. For centuries, the education didn't change much, and the education that version of it. A teacher, as professor enters the class, he or she has the knowledge, and students just looks at the stage and from it. But as you know, that is true. So we now have AI, and it's changed it completely, and that change happened so fast. So we got caught off guard. So we couldn't react. It progresses actually. And now today the question is not whether students use AI, they use AI, we know that for sure. So in which we decided to active policies and we decided to take action rather than to see wait and see what happens. And we talked a lot about the opportunities that it presents. We all experience it. I would like to mention a little bit of the risks that we also discussed a lot today. But from the point of education, there is this huge risk of cognitive and shallow learning. Of course, as a professional, we can use AI to up our jobs, but from the point of a student, which needs to learn and digest information, this cognitive is a huge risk. Also, from the professor side of things, the professors might seem to be useless because they use everything and these things very easily. Too, we still need professors. We cannot risk the professor agency. And also, the professor discussed a little bit the academic integrity challenges and this risk of to AI, which is not accurate yet. And also, we all know that there is bias, the political, the gender, their source of bias, hallucinations, misinformation, disinformation, there are lots of risks, and the policy concerns and overall misalignment, capabilities and risks, and the goals in education. Sorry. So I am not an education expert, but there are lots of education experts. Mutlu Çukurova is a professor from UCL, and he works on AI and teacher coexistence in educational context. And according to his classification, this can be done in 5 different levels, from purely transactional to synergistic. So in the transactional phenomenon, which is at the bottom of the synergy, you just tell something and you deliver something and then use it. And top level, humans are feeding each other with this feedback and each other by things. Yet, I think, as humanity, but I assume soon there. It's not to start right where that we designed for our students. I assume that the operational the teacher said, but control is a professor. Okay. So the teacher assigns goals to AI, and it's according to the teacher's instructions, and is not controlled. So we need to stay relevant and up to date in the age of rapid here to empower our professors as well as our students to have those capabilities together, so to ensure the governance, privacy, we cannot just take to govern and supply the tools that we want to have. So we are still on educational intelligence infrastructure. And we have lots of good students, and a couple of them started a company that does this thing for us. We are working together with them, and this AI infrastructure called Prism that can just lots of materials like PDFs, the slides, the videos,
professor controlled, so it doesn't just collect data from other sources, and it's structured that's. So for instructors, it saves a lot of time. Also, they can create high quality teaching materials, but they are still responsible and part in this system. For learners, so our students, we have self-paced learning are there to replace the professors, but to help them to learn better. And from the institution, from the institutional side, we can ensure the privacy, see the system to see what's going on, have the control. So it's a little video of PRISM in action. Oh, you cannot hear it. So there are lots of sources. So you can choose from the sources you select. When you index them, you can select flashcards, notes. You can also have assessments, mind maps, and videos. So you can ask questions. It gives the links to the sources where that information is found. You can create flashcards. The teachers can create them as well. They can follow what the students are doing and looking. So generated also the teacher controls everything, the pace, the visuals, the slides, the information, everything is controlled by the professor. So it's not like the program generates it. The professor teaches and designs those things in an easy way. So you can also constitute the tracks of learning. You can also make the assessments on the student learning, and it's so that was our platform, and this semester we tried it with the entry course for engineers. We have 1,000 engineers, first grade engineers coming from this 13 who takes this lesson. So since AI can code, so the Python is a good topic to start teaching with AI, and just everything and put AI in front of students. We let them choose, because we still believe that there's human touch. Not everything can be replaced by AI. So some of the students who prefer to go to the classroom and interact with the students, we still have the lectures as we know them, but also we present the opportunity to follow the lectures using tools at their own pace, at their preferred times. Towards the end of the semester, we are still collecting the feedback from the students. As far as here, everything is great, but what's come at the end of the semester. Next organization, I can share the results. And our next goal is to specialize this course to students' field. For example, for topics, the exams, the flashcards can come from the binary field. It will make them to come and enjoy subject. So that's our next goal, to do this personalization. And second goal, challenge we address is curriculum intelligence. Since AI is changing everything we do, how we teach, and it's also changing what we teach. And staying in the up-to-date curriculum is high. We have also another group of students, startup for the curriculum intelligence. The curriculum is can be very, it takes years, but with AI, we can just collect the sources and we can compare, contrast curriculum. So we can easily select a university that we like to, and we can compare curriculums, what we see, strengths. It can be done in ways rather than years. So in share, we can explore the curriculum, so we can see teaching what I'm teaching, not the other people are doing. We can then perform so we can use this to collaborate. So we need to make up joint programs, international programs. It's a team's task to put up a joint task. So this we can just embrace. So it's opportunities as well. So that's all I want to say, and thank you. You, Associate Professor Dr. Hande Alemdar, for your great and inspiring presentation. Now we can move to our second presenter and we can have the questions after all the presenters. Our second speaker is Professor Dr. Manish Kumar Patavura from Science Communication, National Institute of Advanced Studies from, and he will talk about AI-led science communication strategies vis-a-vis science policies in India, analyzing and assessing the initiatives. The stage is yours, Professor Manoj. Yeah.
Thank you. At the outset, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitudes and thanks to the Turkish Academy of Sciences for extending the invitation, and Professor President Asa, who has been instrumental in helping overcoming last-minute hassles for my travel. I would also like to take this opportunity to offer my heartfelt warm tributes to our former colleague, Dr. Finaria Lugo, who was one of the founding members of ASA Share Communication Special Committee. The discussions first began at Indian National Science Academy in 2014. Subsequently took formal shape in 2015 in a conference organized by Indonesian Academy of Sciences in Jakarta, Indonesia, coordinated by Dr. Finaria Lugo. And since then, we have been working together in various member countries. I also had opportunities to organize a couple of programs in India, where Dr. Finaria Lugo and members contributed a lot. So just to remember Dr. Finaria Lugo, just a couple of months back at a Delhi conference, and very sorry to miss her. Now I will take you through my presentation to the topic AI-led science communication strategies with science policies in India, analyzing and assessing various initiatives. I have been working in the intersection of science and its communication to the masses, to policymakers and other different stakeholders over the period of something like 3 decades or so. At present, I am serving at the National Institute of Advanced Studies, that is interdisciplinary institution, research in various aspects, including science communication. I would start my presentation with this quote by Dr. Samuel Johnson, who coined it in 1762, that says knowledge is of two kinds. We know a subject ourselves, or we know from where we can find information about it. I think the second half of this statement is very, very important from the point of science communication. Because the science communicator cannot be the expert of all the subjects, but he or she knows from where the right kind of information can be obtained. So the second half is very important, and especially we are harnessing this idea for science communication and policy formulations. Science communication for the developed countries, mainly for the Western countries, will be different, where tap water is potable drinking water. But for the countries like India, we have a different kind of science communication, where millions of children and people are dying every year for petty diseases like jaundice, diarrhea, and so forth, so on. For us, science communication is the key, the real treasure for scientific knowledge, by which the benefits of science and scientific temper. Scientific temper, I would explain further. It was introduced in the Indian Constitution from the very beginning. Could be carried to the common man, and thus the common man is benefited with the new advancements in various fields of science and technology, and is able to fight against hunger, diseases, drought, and social evils like superstitions with courage and self-confidence. It also enables policymakers for better decision-making, informed choices. We are now, somebody was talking the population. We are now at the top after China. In the population, 1.4 billion people. We have 22 regional languages, so we have to cater all the languages, including Hindi, English, and we have 100 plus dialects communicating across different regions. Diversity, 100 states, 800 districts. Cultural diversity, we enjoy. Food habits, Indian food is, everybody talks when we meet with any foreign colleagues, when we talk about Indian foods. So it's great to be there. Mass media, television, caters something like 97% of population. Radio reaches to 100% population. Print media, 7%. That is thanks to Gen Z, reaching to something like 32.2%. This is the infrastructure. These are the key milestones that we have: the National Council for Science and Technology Communication, National Institute of Science Communication and Information Resources and Policy Resources, National Institute of Advanced Studies, Indian Institute of Technology, Institute of Science, ISRO, DRDO, NCSM. They have been working sometime independently, sometime collectively for various aspects of science and technology to the nooks and corners of the country and making collaborations. India from the very beginning introduced in its constitution that it shall be the duty of every citizen to develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. Scientific temper is nothing but a kind of way of thinking, way of working, way of taking decisions. Whether we are able to take decisions without any bias, without any prejudice, without any fear, without any greed, or without any kind of provocation, it means we are having a scientific temper. So scientific temper is not only knowing science, it is the way how do we conduct in the society, how do we take decisions, how rational we are, how analytical we are, how systematic we are. So this is the duty of every citizen. It is not a compulsion. It's a duty as part of the Indian Constitution. So this was the first guiding principle and the first policy framework for us. It began from 1958 when the Science Policy Resolution was introduced by the Indian Parliament. It emphasized on various aspects of science communication, the inculcation of scientific temper, that given the importance, capacity building in higher education and research, public outreach, limited to dissemination of scientific achievements, harnessing radio and education institutions for public communication. So that was from the very beginning it was taken care. Then the technology policy statement, emphasis from fundamental research shifted to technological advancement and technical development. That also gave birth to various science communication dimensions. I have taken only science, extracted only science communication. That has been the area of interest, and that also links with communication to share communication. Greater recognition of technology diffusion among rural and industrial communities, beginning of science popularization movements and mass outreach programs, emergence of science communication institutions, science exhibitions, and science movements like All India People Science Movement. That is very good, and it reaches to the various districts from at the village level as well. Then full-fledged science and technology policy came in 2003. It emphasized the public understanding of science, also gave policy attention. And just to mention, I have been instrumental from this 2023 till now, formulations, and we have push the science communication element and now share communication as well in our policy formulations. Expansion of science media, science centers, digital resources, and vernacular communication. As I said, 22 digital languages we have to take care when it comes to communication to the masses, recognition of science population as a development necessity. Then science technology innovation was introduced in 2013 in a new policy document. It emphasized on a stronger focus in public engagement, promotion of scientific temper, technological temper, use of digital media, participatory communication, citizen-centric science. We are following the Science Technology Innovation Policy 2020. It is focusing on science, one nation, one subscription approach for the international journals, science communication linked with societal trust, transparency, and public engagement. Communication ecosystem that is people-centric. In 2020, the national education policy brings a lot of reforms. We're discussing during lunchtime and tea time that 50% focus is on the core subject, and rest of the 50% on communication, outreach, and interdisciplinary areas, and field work, connecting with farmers, connecting with industry. So these are the reforms which have been taken as part of 2020 national education policy. It also emphasizes on scientific temper. Then came the India AI mission in 2024. It also emphasizes on knowledge dissemination to help sections of the society, AI translation of scientific content to regional languages, personalized education application, accessibility of different populations, combating misinformation, AI tools detect fake science news. So we have to take care of that. Under ASA Share, we had a conference today on fake news. And, its repercussions, how to work on that, combating misinformation, health information, credibility, and verification mechanisms. These are various initiatives which are AI-led science communication. Language translation, Bhashini, it is very significant kind of proposition. It translates hardcore science in the form of popular content in 22 languages. It's very huge kind of project. Saral is a kind of platform that converts the hardcore research paper. Anybody can do that. You can put over there. You can bring out a link for social media. You can bring out a WhatsApp kind of proposition. You can have a video. So these are the popular use of any kind of hardcore science that have wider reach to the people. Societal for researchers, they can find out the areas of social relevance, SAR is a national body. They have utilized AI for science communication, integrated AI for science communication. Arab is research analytics for knowledge assimilation platform, and Bharat Gen. This is multi-model language model initiative to develop foundational models to enhance citizen engagement with scientific and public service through speech and text. The challenge is how to convert the research paper to the newspaper. So that I think we are taking care through the AI. And the precautions to be taken so that it does not it doesn't become a piece for misinformation. These are the initiatives of shared communication, science, health, agriculture, risk, and environment. Agriculture, Kisan for farmers, taking down to the farmers the scientific information and agriculture. This helps in a big way. And we are also emphasizing that science has to percolate from lab to land. We are doing the other way around, from land to lab, because the farmers also have some idea to share. They are also doing their grassroots innovations. These innovations have to reach to the laboratories so that they can further fine tune. So this is it offers to the kind of communication that AI, soil and analytics, it is hands-on information we are able to get. AI infrastructure, AI for various diseases, like especially on tuberculosis at village level. Teacher so we are also empowering them. Second is especially meant for women health workers. So these are the areas where AI is contributing with caution. These are the privacy framework analysis. STIB, I already discussed, science, technology, innovation policy, national education policy, and CSTC and Vigyan Prasar at national level, and India AI mission. These are various stakeholders, policy makers. This is really important for the scientists, for the communicators as well. India hosted Impact Summit in 2026 in February. Was organized in New Delhi. Impact Summit 2026 was fourth in the series. AI summits following the Blackley and Park AI Safety Summit 2023, AI Innovation Summit 2024, AI Action Summit Paris 2025, the series to continue with AI Summit in 2027 in Switzerland. So this is a collective global and science AI for various stakeholders, various users at international level. These are the challenges for various users of AI for science communication. The way forward, technology and science communication, AI, virtual reality, augmented virtual reality, immersive and metaverse will have to be used for science communication. And at global level, we can have global AI science communication collaboration at UNESCO plus ASA, share communication. So these are some of the suggestions. I will just go to the last place. We also started a share communication that hits. So Turkey is also there. In these countries, we are getting the interest, and we have registered some of the students for that. Here are the conclusion. Communication model. Scientific research is reaches to the stakeholders. And just to conclude, I will show you just this is some of the data. I will skip that. I will show you this slide. This is we have devised the science. It is a combination of science plus cartoon. Suppose we want to communicate about the parasitology to the common man. So you can see at your right, a caricature, a scientist is working in the laboratory. Some small microorganisms are in the dish. And once these organisms are talking to each other, they say, see, scientists, they exploit us for publishing papers, getting PhDs, attending seminars, visiting abroad, still being as parasites. So this is the way we are trying to popularize science. These two elderly people are talking to each other about pollution, and one elder is curious on other. She says, cheated me. My daughter will never marry your son. It's okay that he doesn't smoke or doesn't take any drugs. But why did you hide this fact that he lives in Delhi? Delhi is one of the most polluted cities, especially in the winters. And this is the last slide. Buddha said 500x in 500 BC. Whatever you are told, or you yourself have envisioned it, unless you testify it. That is experimentation, scientific experimentation. Whatever your teacher says, just because you respect him, but after your own examination and analysis, that will be a guiding factor that will never let you down. Further says that whatever I say, unless you have tested it, experimentation as a gold does for testing of gold by putting it into fire. And that is the essence of modern scientific temper. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Manoj Kumar Potria, for presentation. And now to our last, I hope he is here, Dr. Tuncay Habib Baili, from Azerbaijan National Academy of Sciences. So he will talk about development of academically based digital resources from improving the application of artificial intelligence technologies for the Azerbaijan language. So the stage is yours.
Sorry. Thank you very much. Distinguished President of Turbine, Professor Muzaffar Shakir, distinguished scientists, and other guests. It's a great honor and privilege to be here. I would like to extend our gratitude to organizing the committee for hosting such a valuable symposium. Over the last 100 years, science and technology have accelerated the recursive feedback loop. Scientific advances in technologies, and in turn, technologies expand scale, precision, and presence for new discoveries. Increasing that loop from years to months or days. The digital transformation and touching every aspect of our lives, it's top priorities to represent our culture and language in digital world. In this context, our talk is about developing digital resources to support accurate processing of Azerbaijani German project Sophia. Scientific and technical aspects of the project include features and software platform. Sophia as a digital language infrastructure. Sophia stands for processing units functionally. It transforms features of Azerbaijani language, such as rules, suffixes, rules, and machine processable infrastructure. This will serve as a foundation for potential applications like optimization tools, future tools, as well as digital tools and future apps. Language begins with structure and language developments. Processing Azerbaijani as a raw text, relations between suffixes, stress, pronunciation, and features. Distributions into system as a result, this was from explanations and linguistic structure. Channels with suffixes attached to the root. As several systems are trained on most heterogeneous data from, they don't take into consideration the properties of the language. Gold standard base for Azerbaijani language hasn't been programmed. As a result, these systems sometimes make mistakes on identifying suffixes, semantics of the language, to add the responses to verify the resources. Unlike other generals that know from external which is specialist that for Sufi prioritize dictionaries, roots and expansion layers. Picture to build Sufi to the space, complete the formation, so it will be easier to trace explanations and rules that have responses. Here's the practical common general rules. Out of the external practice the same rate of the mixing the heart rate with the angle. So if you start as a little language, in the digital language infrastructure that processes word forms, root, suffix chain, part of speech, pronunciation, and rules and explanations. It has three essential roles as a valuable resource for daily users and workspace and verification environment for linguistic experts, and as well as an academic base for potential Sufi language such as language suffix and rules speech and suffix level sequence and functions are described, and in the spelling exceptions are processed. Together, these literal rules turn the word into a completely linguistic object. Currently, our Logix database contains 20,000 logic dictionary entries, including formal dictionaries such as words and morphological dictionaries. Up until now, researchers have identified and categorized 743 suffixes. And we are also considering to incorporate digital cultural from classical and modern texts. If you compare with previous research from previous years, it was about approximately 500 suffixes, which our research managed to identify up to 750. Scientific knowledge of language is that each dictionary is transformed into a linguistic object. Together with this part of speech, stress, pronunciation, semantic relation, and status. This approach combines the morphological model, lexical base, classical models, and predictive data layer. As a result, traditional linguistic knowledge is transformed into machine processable narrative infrastructure. And show some digital language infrastructure are accessible to users and researchers. Currently, users will to search and learn and expressions to collaborate with linguistic experts, so they'll be responsible for managing data and verification this platform. The platform also has additional roles such as text analysis, generating express environment for linguists, and additional features so to try and choose some results. And we'll show some examples from the application itself. This one is about text analysis and word generation. Text is first it's divided into sentences, and initial linguistic indicators are extracted. Also, for word generating enables creating web forms with suffixes based on rules. And for workspace, this will be intended for linguistic experts, and they will work on the dictionary font of the project, and they will verify. They are expected to check and this platform will also functions. As you can see, entries are standardized across 5 fields of speech, stress, and pronunciation and explanation. And metrics. This is to show the text processing results such as sentence segmentation and frequency. Also, from structural forms. This is that demonstrates logical value of suffix, and here sequence of the suffixes attached to the generation rule and structural explanations are tracked at the database level. This information is important for generation, error detection, and creation of governance standards for future AIs. Sure, to build digital and server knowledge. It's not just building servers, according to the sequence of long and short servers. This is an interesting data for some stress, rhythm, and processing. The future stage will also consider to collaborate with specialists to voice for voice recordings and to build experimental text-to-speech type. Still, it's very it's constantly to work on. The future from Azerbaijan is to verification. In the left-to-right direction, the system starts from the root, selects the appropriate suffix, and applies the rule and creates a verb form. In the left direction, it's about of the root. Suffixes are separated from the existing verb form, the root is found, and normative expression is provided. And these two corrections confirm each other and which the reliability of the system increases. It's required for expectability is required. The this gold standard slowly progressing toward Sophia model. First, the question first passes through the morphological and semantic analysis. The appropriate explanation and examples are sourced in Sophia base. The return results are ranked. The answer is connected to these resources. This is of 5 layers. First is about data layer that carries dictionaries, roots, suffixes. Processing layer performs tectonization and normalization. Search layer creates lexical semantic structure and provides based initial screen. Control layer maintains administration and moderation features for lowest degree. Currently, there are some challenges we are facing. The first problem is the data quality, and for this, we are planning to collaborate with experts. For the spelling pronunciation and part of speech, these features are expected to be verified by these researchers. And the second problem is about technical stability. Currently, we have limited server resources. Some additional GPU servers to perform large-scale processing, data processing. But still, we are limited by our resources. Hopefully, after this conference, we can have some collaborations. And the third problem is about governance and legal issues. For this, we are expected to establish source registration, audit trail, and benchmarking systems. Here's our overview of the work. Webinars. The time to expand corpus to integrate these with potential educational tools. Later, there are hopefully updated national language and infrastructure, so these tools can be built on top of it. Expected outcomes from this project were expected to Sophia as just software, but infrastructure for national language technologies. The platform will create an active digital resource for education, a sourcing knowledge base for Sophia, interactive reference for education, and digital poetry for digital philology, up-to-date digital lexicography, and this will give us a national AI norm. In the end, Sophia is more than a dictionary. It's an ecosystem established not to adapt Azerbaijan to AI, but to adapt Azerbaijan artificial intelligence to the future's scientific base of Azerbaijani language. Thank you very much for having us. It was a great pleasure to be with you. We are just one more for collaborations and partnerships, and we're very happy especially since it's closely related with Turkish language and Turkic states. We'd be very happy to collaborate with Turkey and Turkic states to further improve, to have joint projects and to have further improve this model. We'd be very happy for collaborations. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tuncay Habibayli, for your presentation. Now we finish the presentations, and if you have any questions, we do not have much time, but we can get a few of them, if you have any. No questions?
Can I ask one?
Okay.
Yes, sir. How
Yeah.
we to convert this thing to Turkish language since our languages are basically the same language?
I can say it.
How much effort do you need to turn this into a Turkish so that we can also use it?
We need to talk with the linguistic experts because even still we have the same roots, but still there are some differences in the lexical base. That's why we need to talk with the linguistic experts. I can't answer this question exactly because I am a bit technical person. But unfortunately, our researchers, linguistic experts, were not able to attend here. But later after this meeting, we can have some meetings to discuss it. That'd be really good. Thank you.
Do you have any other questions? I think everybody is tired. So thank you again for all these great speeches. And I think now we will have a coffee break and then we will have the last session. Thank you once more. Okay, the certificates I need to give. Sorry. Professor Manoj Kumar Patayriya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Dr. Tuncay Habibayli. Thank you once again.
Oradaydı. Oradaydı.
Hocam siz söylediniz ya ben söylemiyorum o zaman.
Çok selam söyle.
Merhaba. Öyle mi? Hoca hangi üniversitede? Orada.
Çalışmam dedi. Aslında bu şey konferansta böyle bir sistem yapmak gelişim konusunda.
Öyle mi?
Evet. Yani biraz daha farklı gördüğüm kadarıyla bu büyük eğitim süreçleriyle ilgili bizimki de böyle hani silah hazırlamadan ders kontrolü işte bak vermeye kadar işte program.
Hocam şöyle bir fotoğraf alalım.
Tamam, siz de gelin. Siz önce alın sonra biz.
Siz bana ders.
Sizi de yok ya siz.
Tabii siz de buyurun diye ses
Yaptım hocam. Fotoğraf çok mühim.
Profesör.
Ama bizi hepimizi görüyor musun orada?
Görün hocam.
Tamam. Gülümseyelim.
Thank you for saying it. Teşekkür
Biz ama şey kullandık.
Ha, onu kullandınız. Bizimkiler de aslında cebine kullanıyorlar. Elbise şu anda cebine ama yani sadece eurolar kullanılıyor. Tabii.
O bizimki şey.
Tabii birlikte yapabiliriz. Biz bizim işte aslında çocuklar startup oldular. Onlara yardım ediyoruz ama ticaretleştiriyoruz. Siz de mi öğrendiniz?
Tabii. Bir tane bilişimci aldı. Onun işte bir yeni meziyeti var. Bunlardan güzel. Çok ben de tabii yıllarda Dolayısıyla böyle bir
Tabii. Çok,
böyle şey.
evet, benim de şimdi rolüm aslında bütün bu süreçleri dijitalleştirme. Yani eğitiminden, akreditasyonla.
Dinleyince şey yapalım. Hepinizi bir alalım.
Olur. Olur hocam. Ben size şu çocuklarımızın
Profesör Elimler.
ayakkabı.
Yeah. Yes.
Sizler böyle bilgisayar mühendisleri olduğu için kendileri geliştirdiler. İşte eğitim tarafında da
Aslında yarattığımızı düşünüyorum. Paylaşıyorum. Yapacak fazla şey yok. Sizin de
ben de aynı şey. Ben de işte ben de yaptıkları şöyle var. Yani her şey aynı zevkleri.
Exactly.
Yani her konuda bir
It's not.
Yeah, no,
Böyle küçük
evet, yani hocaların yolu şimdi.
şey yapacak. Problem.
Evet. Eskiden kolaydı. Öğrencilerimiz bir şey diyor. Çok öğretmenler
Sev buraya alabilir miyiz?
Hayır.
Yani aslında tercih ediyorum.
Yes, I
And collaboration also işte çift Muslim was my teacher was his
Oh, yes, he's a great guy.
and that's what I know me to him since 2005. You do it.
Yes, yes. Then he retired, then went to another university, he founded a new university, he retired from there too. Yeah, but he's still around, I like him very much.
Yes,
Very
yes.
respectable guy.
And that's why I want to meet you to ask about him.
Yes.
That where he does, he also have some professor emeritus status there as well.
Yes,
in
yes,
Mexico.
exactly,
Yeah.
yes. And also he founded a new university, in Çankaya University in Ankara.
Right.
It's not a special university. So he's there, I think, but he retired from there as far as I know. But he still
And
shows up in our department in social gatherings.
We are only interested that he is alive.
Yes, he's alive. He's
That's good,
alive.
because he was.
He's very active too.
He's the one, not on the social media.
Yes, yes,
That's the-
yes. Yes.
And he.
But he's physically showing up in the social events, so that's
That's good.
how I know.
That's good.
And also I would know if he was there, but he's good. Physically, he's good.
Because earlier when he was here, we used to find him for evaluation. As a foreign evaluation. And then after that, he discontinued that time, very busy. So that was a way to have interaction with him. And then
Yes,
you so pay my regards to him.
exactly. I will, next time,
Yeah.
hopefully I will see.
Yes. And he's based in Ankara, yes,
Ankara.
here.
Yes, he's here, as far as I know, because the other university is here. But he's from Ankara.
Yeah.
Should be.
So that's, so if you connect me with him, then we can meet somewhere. Maybe if not on this trip, on next one,
Okay,
but at least once we come and connect.
yes, of course, of course.
But we have my guest regard for him because of his contribution and the help that he has provided.
Okay, let me,
So if anyone say I'm from me too, my second, the first question is that, how is it going to
let me see. See,
Yeah.
he himself.
Pretty old.
Yeah, so this picture is taken in the 22nd of April.
Oh,
I couldn't attend,
yes.
so he's alive, but of course he's very old.
And he, one of his friends was gone. He was, I think, Turkish but Canadian national. He was his junior.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
all right.
So thank you so much
you.
for providing the information.
It's okay, and thank you for the nice presentation, your presentation of those are very inspiring. So it's nice meeting you.
Same here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Inshallah. No, they have one more system. Yeah. We go by. Yeah, yeah.
First of all, I would like to congratulate your work. I work in medical areas, and I know that this is not for everyone, but I can understand a lot of the things that you've been doing. This is a like cultural thing, so people are not appreciating that. I think not appreciating it, not right, but they don't understand exactly
Yeah.
what you've been doing because I've got PTSD studies. So I'm a PhD also based in it, but creating a medical report people to model the data. So I know that how hard it would be. Just, work in the dentistry and stuff, and I feel you about changing the data set. I've been working with MR, and then after the third year, they told me that I don't have any more data, and I had to shift the chest X-ray. And in my Viva, PhD Viva, they asked me why did we change it? I have to say that because that was more interesting, and instead of that was all the data I had. And I went, go be doing to that, all I needed data. The question I was asking, do you have like open source data set you can work for open source data set with everything in medical data or university just really
Yeah, most of the yeah, you should move on. So they for study. So we forgot to how to what is the you say what to yeah, so we have some
that like citation is
the problem now, so they are
oh, okay, that, can I get your contact details? I mean, nobody's at the university here, that you know, I started to meet you, I'm working with them now, I took back to a really recently. So, if I get you, or should I get your email? Can you write it down, okay? This is my sister, also I can do, so you can hear me work on something together. So she's trying to collect some data, she's a medical issues, but obviously it's going to control and everything is not really easy to collect data from everywhere, so we can maybe find something maybe.
No, there was, actually, I was trying that it's a medical data set, one of my students published, so that's why.
Like you said, I'm just the person that you're going to review, so I'm looking for options and good papers as well. In Kendall data set, it's not really, we can get a good publication because everybody's using it in some way or another, so you make data set with the ND, I think that you just provide.
We are developing our data set for artisan.
Yeah. Really expensive toilet data like that. Yeah, that's really innovative. So that's really important. Yeah, to just get imagine. So yeah, thank you, because this is what I want to do, like, when I said, if I PhD level, so and I get it for 7 to 8 years, and you can understand that there is always, and my supervisor, because maybe, like, I don't know, maybe, it's a really big, kind of imagine, you can, so he was getting around like that. So I was thinking that all my life will be like that. I'm up to the PhD. Yeah, it's really hard to find a good data. I don't want to work on with respect like any kind of bookable sources if I don't find out something. So that's why you need to sit in the process. When that if you is to work on, you know. So that's why she's collected some data from the archive and look for babies developing. But it's taking a long time. Ethical approval, that's all right. She's doing about this all the time, but now she's interviewing so many months, so that stopped as well. So that's what I was thinking, that maybe if I can come up with something, which hypothesis we can just learn about their post policy. So I then actually hear about the geology to post of in a collaboration, it's the same thing. So that's why I was thinking that, like, I mean, it could be a good collaboration for
We have neighbors, but unfortunately, common man. I have couple of.
I think you're engineering, like something.
Thanks for this link I got. The name I will be right. This is not Madrasi people, we have to speak in English. Yes. The same country. Yes. So मैं अंग्रेजी में बात करता Political question करना नहीं This is not the time. यहाँ से जाता है कि क्या जानते हैं मायके वापस मतलब तो नहीं आ रहा
वो सारे जैसे जाते हैं रास्ता पूछ जाते हैं इंडिया हाँ
क्योंकि हम अपनी भाषाएं बोलते हैं अपनी तरह से खाना खाते हैं अपनी तरह से अपने जब they are the first
Vaktimiz var mı?
में सारे
Ben çok az değilim de.
सिलवारी साहब आते हैं केरल से
हाँ जानता हूँ सर के वो वो भी पाकिस्तान के भाई के मुझे उन्होंने रिकमेंड किया था एक जाने कॉन्फ्रेंस या भी नहीं
अमेरिका में वो खुद कहते हैं शायद हाँ मिले सिलवारी साहब से मिलते हैं
नहीं मैं कह रहा हूँ खुद मैं हमें भी
मैं था
Yes, maximum 15 minutes. Please.
The session will be symposium. Station title. Circulation. Tim to the stage. The session will focus on literacy, credentials, structure, issues in higher education. Okay, good afternoon, dear participants. We are about to start the last session of today's program. The title of this session is Building AI Talent for the Knowledge Economy. Our presenters will provide different perspectives, and they are all coming from different backgrounds. I hope this will enrich the content of the program. Our first presenter is Professor Dr. Aras Bozkurt. He is a researcher and faculty member at Anadolu University. With MI and PhD degrees in distance education, Dr. Bozkurt's work focuses on empirical studies in areas such as distance education, network learning, and educational technology. The title of his presentation is Upskilling the Future, Building the AI Literacy and Micro-Credentials. The floor is yours, Professor Aras Bozkurt.
Okay, it's sound check. Hello, everyone. I'm pleased to be talk about the trending topic of the higher education AI. I have a presentation which will focus on AI, higher education, and micro credentials. So I just would like to start briefly introducing myself. I am education faculty. We have 1.5 million students, and we have education technology, including AI. And last week, somebody asked me, how do you manage, a faculty with 1.5 million students? I just told them, rather than recruiting skilled scholars or administrative staff, you are now using AI agents. There is a change, and I'm this change, and I benefit from this change in a post-digital era. Saying post-digital era, I would like to emphasize that in the digital era, but we are in a post-digital era. That means in this era, we hear that AI is a revolution, but what does that mean for the average worker? That means shelf life of the knowledge is shrinking. In the past, a university degree was like a passport. It was valid for 30 years of travel in today. Passport expires much faster. Traditional education is like a large ship, but it is still, on the other hand, it turns very slowly. The market, however, is like a speedboat. It changes direction every month. To survive, to bridge the gap between stable ship of degrees and the speedboat of the industry. Another thing, 10 or 20 years ago, it was kind of a granted visa for everything. But now is that whichever state you graduate from, whatever skills you have, your knowledge, your expertise can be obsolete. So in such a time when the AI is dominating technology and affecting higher education, we can use AI literacy as a solution. Literacy is not about how to use, but it is about how to think. Let's define the AI literacy together. Think AI literacy means how to open a chatbot. This is only the surface. Many people use large language models like using Google, so they don't really from this technology. On the other hand, if I summarize AI literacy, it has three foundational ideas. You should have the that means AI. What's the original AI? Definitions about the AI. The second component, the second pillar is how. You know the technology, but how to use this technology effectively. And most importantly, you need to have some background about AI. AI is mostly about responsible, trustworthy, and ethical use, and having full awareness of the AI. When we compare these three pillars, I can say that it's really important because direction makes this distinction consumer or user. If you don't have sufficient background about your consumer in controlling the technologies, AI is controlling you. And if you don't consumer but user, you don't have these backgrounds. Having these backgrounds, a degree of interest means that architecture of the future in personal and professional life. The issue is the mental credentials. In a time when the technologies are and AI literacy important, what credentials? This is the questions we are trying to answer in this session. Indeed, credentials are security paths for human capital because if you have the literacy, we have to deliver that to a large population of the people. I mean, these can be students or everybody in the market. If you to the people, you could not tell them, okay, now post-digital age, you need to go back to the university. You for years more, you need to update yourself. This is not possible. In such a case, micro credentials appear as a working solution because people can continue routines and when they can update themselves credentials. Issues in transferable and collectible soul learning. Think about your smartphone. You don't want any time. You want a future. Indeed, what you do is to update your software. So your credentials are kind of updates for humankind and human experience. They are bite-sized and flexible. Approaching from these perspectives and realizing its importance, 10 days later, the biggest credential project in Turkish higher education at Anadolu University, and we are planning to deliver this kind of credentials to our site face-to-face students and all the students. So indeed, this is kind of a countdown for me. The other issue is about personalization and resilience. Indeed, from just-in-case to just-in-time, it's not happening. When you combine AI literacy with micro-credentials, data engine for carriers. In the system, just in case education, it's just in case we need them in 10 years. In the system, in post-digital, we use just-in-time education. AI can actually help us here. AI can look at our experience, background, even check our CVs, from the job market, and it can say, hey, Alas, you're a professor, but you did a micro-credential about, let's say, blockchain. It is personalized pathway. And to update myself on chain, I don't need to go to the university, and I could just for weeks credential course, I can enter an exam, I can verify, and I can take this skill to my e-portfolio digital wallet. And the exciting part is that in traditional universities, everything is scheduled. When you enroll a program in an higher education institution, the courses, the paths, even the events you attend are already scheduled. But credentials, consider it like a Lego. You can select the skills and competencies you need. You can take them and you can build your pathway. So this is exciting. And approaching from this perspective, I don't see micro-credentials as an emerging term or as a trend forced by rapid change in higher education. Indeed, I see it kind of a skill for resilience, being resilient in post-digital age. In short, I can tell that lifelong is not a luxury. It is a necessity for survival in a post-digital age. So we need a bridge to survive in post-digital age when the generative AI and agentic AI influencing every dimension of our life. And we need to keep ourselves updated, and credentials currently looks as a working solution, and it looks like a bridge between education and the industry. So with micro credentials, the educational content, but in the empowerment for other professions. Thank you. This was end of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Hocam, for this timely and okay. Yes. Mhm. The next speaker is Professor Mirza, coming from Serbia. She's a full professor at Faculty of Sciences, University of Novi Sad, corresponding member of the Serbian Academy of Sciences and Arts since 2024. The title of her presentation is Integration of Large Language Models in Intelligent Tutoring System, Adoption and Ethical Aspects.
Okay, thank you. First of all, as participants, I would like to thank organizers to inviting representative of Serbian Academy of Science and Arts, and they delegated me. Fortunately, I did not know in advance how presentation will last. So I prepared a lot of slides. So I will change some dynamics and presentation. So also the title is a bit different than expecting. So we all of us know that artificial intelligence has different phases during the history, starting from first publishing books through radios to first learning management systems and so on, and nowadays to remote learning. Sorry. So history of intelligent tutoring systems, which are the main point in this presentation, started in 60s and 70s last century, constantly improving and incorporating different AI approaches. So including machine learning, natural language processing, recommendation systems, and so on. So in last stage, let's say we are witnesses of enormous rapid development of generative AI, large language models, and so on. What I would like to tell here, in fact, I would like to concentrate to our intelligent tutoring system, because my background is in fact computer science, programming languages, and technology enhanced learning. And we developed one intelligent tutoring system which evolved through different phases, including different approaches, of course, getting more and more intelligence and personalized, but also arising questions about ethical issues. For example, a very important data privacy of students during the educational processes using intelligent tutoring system. And in some phase, we also introduced learning analytics. So from that point of view, ethical issues started to be very important, and also some of fairness issues, which I tell something about it later. So what is the main focus? The main focus is our Protus intelligent tutoring system, which was developed, starting to be developing maybe more than 15 years ago. But at that moment, we employed elements of recommendation systems and collaborative tagging techniques. and also change different approaches and also include association rule mining techniques which predict behavior of learners, and according to that suggested them topics and learning paths. We use learning style identification approach as a cold start for our participants in that experiments. Maybe it is a bit out of date from point of view of some researchers, but still learning styles are our approach, which is used in such systems, and based on learning styles, we make different groups of participants according to information processing, perception, reception, and understanding. So our system was mainly used in experiments, and in a big experiment we included more than 300 undergraduate students, and because our system was developed to be general, it means that it could be applied for different topics and in different areas, but we focused on the teaching introduction of programming language Java. And for that, we performed experiments with 340 students at my faculty. Here is a structure of system. I will not go into details, but on the left-hand side, you can see a rather complex interface which use students to communicate with the central system, which includes a learning module, adaptation module, domain module, analyzer, and so on, which all together helped students to select, to propose topics, but also on the other hand, they are of great help for teachers and preparation teaching material and improving teaching material based on students' results. Of course, our system includes topics, tests, small programming examples, and different kinds of examples and tests. You can see here on the left-hand side the visual presentation of for statement, and for students who are more textually oriented based on learning style, it is the same topic in textual form. As I said, we tried to improve our system. So in meanwhile, we experimented with different aspects like taste and smells with students, using different tastes like chocolate, coffee, and so on. But it was small experiment. We also included eye trackers in that system to conclude about students learning based on eye tracking during learning particular topics. And one of the most important enhancements of this system was use of mastery grids, which was a component developed with Professor Peter Brusilovsky from Pittsburgh University, and which is in fact one social component for teaching and learning different programming languages. So it is some simplified version where a student can see his position comparing to other participants in teaching. So if he or she look at and learn one lesson, and his his mark is yellow, it means that he is better or she is better than group, average success of group, and blue means that it is worse, he is worse than average of group. So based on that, we collected also a lot of information from students who use that system and produce some results and publish some results, but it is another aspect of story. What is interesting from our point of view, it is that again, maybe more than 10 years ago, before generative AI get widely used, we proposed also extension of our system, including two kinds of pedagogical agents, one helpful and one leading. What was the main idea? The main idea was that students who solve some small programming problem missed some parts of solution and they need to enter that part. And they could use support of agent, and at the moment that when agents suggest them a part of code which should be included in solution, the student is not sure whether is it useful or misleading agent. So the main idea was to push students to think critically, not to accept blindly information they got from agents. It is some initial version, I would say, of today's programming stage in programming, where we have extensive use of AI coding and the possibilities that a system can suggest students or programmers or software developers to suggest appropriate parts of code. So it is, I would say, the similar idea or the same idea, but of course nowadays generative AI can help more than our initial agent system and agent support. And it is interesting, of course, that there are some different stories and, for example, some series which compares productivity of human software engineers and AI-based software, let's say, chatbot developers. And it also could be one interesting idea for us to continue or to renew our system according to current state of development in this area. Of course, you can see here on that picture different possibilities and different challenges for developing intelligent tutoring systems. First of all, from our developing educational systems and generally educational environments. And for our point of view, it's interesting, again, personalization, highly tailored material to students. And we plan for some future to continue with this development, but it is very important and challenging two questions, adoption and fairness of such useful and misleading agents, and also some ethical aspects connected to privacy and private aspects. Sorry that I ran through slides and was too fast.
Thank you very much. Okay, now I would like to invite Professor Özcan Öztürk, Sabancı University. He has been a faculty member at Sabancı University since February 2024. His research interests are in the areas of parallel computing, hardware accelerators, quantum computing, process design, and heterogeneous architectures. The title of his talk is The AI Infrastructure Landscape.
All right. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk about a different topic than what has been presented so far. I'm personally a computer architect. So mainly I do design hardware for parallel applications and data intensive domains. And AI is obviously an important area for us to cover these basics. I will try to explain what's the current status and then where the world is going so that we have a better idea about what hardware platforms are needed for future generation AI systems that is inevitable. As mentioned by Mehmet Kemal Hocam here, before AI has been there for many years for many of the computer engineers probably in the room. So we already have been teaching this artificial intelligence courses in computer engineering curriculum. But the specific interest has been increased due to generative AI. As you can see from this slide, it is just a subset of the whole AI, infrastructure. And the key change about AI is, this doesn't work? No? Okay, works. So the key change in AI is actually AI is moving from talking to us to working for us. With the change and shift, as I will mention shortly, AI is now working as agents to support the users in their AI needs. One key aspect of AI infrastructure that's currently working, generative AI, is actually that creates the content, text, and response chatbots and whatnot, is kind of extending to agentic AI. So we have agents, AI agents that work for us. So they do independent planning, reasoning, tool integration, and many other supportive features exist with the newer generations of AI workflow, as I will show some of the examples of the most recent AI frameworks. So among this, many of the software engineers right now use these agent tools for their development. And they, for example, design an agent that detects the debug in a software, and then another agent that is going to find out what's the problem, another agent to actually solve the problem, and a fourth one, for example, to test it out. So you have agents that work for you in an agent manner, and agentic AI is kind of the new trend that is widely used in many of the industry here. And I just wanted to briefly give you an overview of what is being there for the AI infrastructures, AI models that are out there with their parameter sizes. So I would like to emphasize the increase in the number of parameters that is used for training these AI tools. And that is actually a significant part of the whole AI infrastructure world, because as the number of parameters increase, that means you're going to have to invest a lot more in the hardware to train those. And as you can see, you have 10,000 billion, which is actually trillion parameters that is going to be part of the latest versions of the AI frameworks. So that's a huge number of parameters that you need to deal with, which means you need a lot of hardware, a lot of support to compute all of this. So this actually can be also seen in a chart like this. This is a log chart, so it's not a linear chart. So it's every step is 10 times more the other one, log scale, which is actually indicating the impact and the increase, the dramatic increase in the parameters that you're dealing with. So with the GPT-4, actually we have the parameter scaling. Now we have a change in the AI infrastructure, AI models that we deal with, which is the mixture of experts. Starting with that, now we have actually multiple experts that you have as part of the whole AI framework. So this is a shift from the original generative AI, where you have option to choose which part of the track you want to take. So you could go either this way, that way, or another one according to the expertise that's needed for the AI question, AI problem that you're dealing with. And then also, we also have computer inference, test time compute. So you actually have additional support while the request is being made for the AI, so that you have actually a smaller model which may actually answer in a better fashion than a complex model that is being trained. So computed inference during inference stage is also a new era optimization that is out there. So we also need to consider that. And newer models that are being implemented also try to address not only the cost of giving an answer to you, but also how well the answer, how well the solution was from a user's perspective. So now the new trend is actually making sure you get actually good results as the requests come into the AI libraries. So the giants exist in models, right? We have GPT, the latest one is 5.5, and Cloud 4.7. And the training scale for these, I would like to emphasize this, critically, because this is an important factor. If you look at the numbers here, we see that there are, clusters that are needed to support these of 180,000 to 250,000 GPUs, which is a huge number. So we were not just talking about hundreds or thousands. This is close to 100,000 numbers, which is a huge number. And the hardware standard needed to support these models is actually also very expensive. So I will give some numbers about the cost of this, implementation and the infrastructure shortly. But what is out there is actually an important infrastructure that you invest, which is going to cost you a lot. And that means you will also need to consider the new metrics along the lines of, giving good answers. So cost per token, how much you actually invest into this, and then inference efficiency, how efficiently you answer the request, whether you need to do multiple iterations to respond to the user, because that means a cost to the whole system. So that's why we need to consider the whole framework when we're discussing about the pros and cons of the designs. So there are technical limitations in addition to the ones that is being discussed so far. Social limitations and concerns exist. I will also briefly touch upon that, but technical limitations and concerns are critical. Also, some of these are mentioned before. Data scarcity is one key limitation. Because the human generated data is almost exhausted. So more data is needed, which means you need to somehow generate them. And if this is done in if the AI creates its own data itself in a synthetic manner, that's going to create actually model collapses potentially in the future. So this is one technical limitation people are trying to, or researchers are trying to address. Another one is power constraints. Again, this has been also mentioned in one of the presenters' presentation before. So we have actually a lot of power that needs to go into these servers, these data centers, and you need to also consider the grid instability. So this may affect the other users of electricity, right? Because a lot of people use the same electricity, and if these AI infrastructures consume a lot of power, then it affect the users in households.
And then also another problem that we need to consider is the reliability of these models, right? As we all know, again mentioned briefly before, hallucinations exist in these models, so they use statistical patterns, not facts. So that's going to be a critical limitation that we need to consider. So the reliability remains as a concern to consider. I have a small set of social implications, which I'm not going to go into details. One is safety, so harmful content may be there. And then the other one is job displacement. So you may actually, lost some of the jobs out there, hopefully generating jobs, but that's definitely an issue there. And then real versus fabricated is a concern, but the last one is the one that I want to emphasize, aside from the ones that has been discussed before in this room. And that one is actually unforeseen risks may exist because you have agents that are doing tasks for you. Before a human can intervene in a problem, these agents may actually have done the harmful acts so far. So this is another dimension that needs to be considered as a social impact of the AI infrastructures out there. Now, I would like to consider or talk about the CAPEX explosion, which is the kind of one threshold and that goes into these AI infrastructures. So if you want to create a hardware infrastructure that's going to implement a big size model, then you have to invest $1 billion in hardware procurement, mostly in buying the GPUs, buying the equipment that's going to be needed. One example is Stargate, which is actually a project that is being out there by OpenAI initiative, and it is aiming to build $100 billion supercomputer project, which is composed of hundreds of thousands of GPUs, and the initial phase, which is supposed to complete in this year, is 64,000 NVIDIA GPUs that are going to be placed into this. I would like to mention that these GPUs that they want to put into 64,000 is going to be $50,000 per each. So it's like you're having $3 billion for the GPU equipment that's going to go into this initial phase of the project. And obviously that goes with additional equipment, not only the GPUs that you want to buy, but also you have to invest in the infrastructure, electricity grid, network, and other components. Another thing that we need to mention is, besides from these infrastructure implementations, the hyperscalers, as we name them, Amazon, Meta, and others, are now becoming the AI giants, right? And they not only generate and use data, but also they house hardware and they try to build their own hardware. In addition to these GPUs, for example, NVIDIA is trying to manufacture their own hardware equipment, custom equipment to support their AI needs, and also they need energy to run their hardware systems. So just wanted to emphasize the ChatGPT model's GPU numbers here. As you can see, it is again in the 100,000 plus GPUs that are being used as part of the hardware for training these latest AI infrastructures. Again, the cost of using and running these infrastructures is not cheap. So it's just showing you the generation of the latest GPUs. The one on the last row that you can see is a 50K latest NVIDIA GPU, and putting such a box here on the right hand side, the picture that you can see, which is DGX B200 is actually costing you $500,000. Just 8 such boxes of GPU. So that's essentially the cost that you need to pay for setting up an infrastructure that you can train the whole system. And also, I wanted to mention the setup cost range. So there are cheaper versions that you can target. Whether this is the true data or not is another question, because some people believe that DeepSeek values are not really the correct values that they report. So it can be taken with a question mark, but you can also consider Grok numbers with a question mark as well. But that's something to keep in mind. As you can see, the range is millions of dollars versus billions of dollars. So the range is quite high, and maybe you can go with the
smaller scale implementation, smaller scale setup according to your needs. So one distinction that could be implemented as part of the designs is pre-training versus post-training. Pre-training is GPT-5 versions of that you train first, and post-training is actually take a model that has been trained and then post-trained accordingly. So this could be done with a precision expert cost, and you can actually improve your design. And actually there's a multiple improvement that you can get with such implementations. So I'm going to just mention the Stargate implementation. So you see a lot of buildings that are being built as part of this infrastructure. So they have huge facilities that they are building for this 100 project. Just by itself is costing budgets of many countries altogether. So that's something to keep in mind. One last part of my talk, actually, this is the most important part, but I think I'm out of time now. The hardware that you have is the silicon, and that is actually TSMC is the foundry king, which develops the chips. So 90% of the high quality chips get out from TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. So you have this giant that you need to deal with, and then custom ASICs, which are implemented by these AI companies, like, for example, Amazon, right? So they build their own chips accordingly. So we have fabless designers who do not have fabrication facilities, but they just design, architect, and send it off to TSMC to build the chips. So fabless, so I'm not going to go over these, but we have the different infrastructure in chip industry that you need to consider while dealing with the AI industry and AI chips accordingly. And we actually need to also consider the TSMC as a key, player in the whole thing. And Intel versus TSMC, if you look at the numbers, they have actually 10 times more chips that they're developing compared to TSMC. So maybe just to mention that you need to have 15 to 30 billion to create a fabrication facility for a chip company. So that's a huge investment that you need to have. US has investing just to get things avoided from China, so they can put it into their mainland instead of relying on Taiwan. They want to actually move things into their own local resources. So final thing here, what do we need? The ultimate triangle is power, data, and silicon. So you need the power, energy to run, data to use in that data center, and then also the silicon to run these in an efficient manner. So thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Professor Öztürk. I'd like to invite Professor Muzaffer stage. He will present as the last presentation of today's session. An interesting case study conducted at Kocaeli Health and Technology University. Let me briefly introduce you Professor Muzaffer Elmas. He is a Turkish academic specializing in civil engineering. Professor Elmas is a member of AFAS Earthquake Advisory Board, the Council of Higher Education's Vocational Qualifications Institution, and a full member of TUBA. Since 2022, he has served as Rector of Kocaeli University of Health and Technology. The floor is yours, Professor Elmas.
Thank you. My presentation, no, okay. My presentation, I have supported education and accreditation management in higher education. Connection. Okay, click, no. And my presentation is two parts. And firstly, I talk about theoretical things about changing in the world. And second part, we developed a web page education, AI-supported education system. That six way of innovation. And before AI and big data and water power scheme and antibiotic electronics, ICT, internet, and developed changing a linear, but IA changing and logarithmic. University, this way, a very hard way, and university and digital area. And there are no path, and now complex and irregular path. Everything in education, in social, in economy, in things. We talk about 10 and 15 years and universities and future universities, future department, future skills, future competence. But I think the future has arrived. This sentence for me, Ne Muzaffer Elmas. I talked 2 years ago. What we need to do is understand the rapid change is leading and adapting. You know, technology change curve, human harmony, and artificial intelligence, flexible education, microcredit instead of diploma, and flexible policy, strategic management instead of, and continuous monitoring instead of accreditation. This picture explained at Stanford last month. Every year explain this monitor. This artificial intelligence is approach human level capabilities in areas such as image recognition and language understanding. Classic exams are becoming insufficient. Grades and are gradually losing their meaning. Academic integrity must be redefined. Universities must redesign themselves in terms of curriculum assessment and evaluation and accreditation system. The problem is no longer what artificial intelligence can do. It is how quickly universities can adapt to this new reality. Flexible education model, microcredit dental and certificate programs, and artificial intelligence courses and applications, and industry-supported projects during undergraduate education. How to find a way forward in such a rapidly changing and complex space? The leaders and rectors, dean, and everybody, let's reshape the university with IA and microcredit dental. Academician against to change. For example, I tested and it turned out incoherent due to hallucination and a lack of clear ethics and compliance guidelines. But we enable change, a simple system set up after that against change and reduce. We developed, before presenters explained everything, but we developed our powered higher education management system, web page system, update lesson plan, update courses, alignment learning outcomes, resources, and assessment strategy, integrating of tools and others, incorporation relevant content were appreciated. Our system level in what I explained it or web page for okay. Our web page Turkish but translate and English. Hocam ben bir şey yapmadım ama ben bir şey yapmadım. Bunun adı var mı? Yine ne? Yeah. Our system at Turkish but translate and Google. Firstly, academician and click this page and choose courses. I choose any courses. And analyze this syllabus. Update academician and automatically come from information packet and Bologna process information system directly and course syllabus. Course syllabus analyze and in the universities level and in the world changing about prompt yeah, please wait. And internet in there are not good. Yeah. For example, these courses at much rate 80%. And this census score and 710. Before these courses, this syllabus and analyze results and these courses strengths and suggest and detailed analysis and areas improvement and suggest this system worked about Gemini. Gemini. Okay. If you want academician change our syllabus and course content and course learning outcomes, and if you want change and click this and academician syllabus. If you want course objective and if you want artificial intelligence proposal and click this wait 1 minute vaktim var değil mi? Böyle çok da sorun yok.
Hocam 10 dakika.
Ha, tamam. Good. Wait. This, if you want academician changing course objective and artificial intelligence working and continue course content if you want changing the course content, and if you want other things, it is very important is course learning outcomes, program learning outcomes connected. Very important is. Many academician is not good is connection, but IA click is inshallah click. Yeah. Yes. IA proposal and course objective. Academician read this if you want to change course objective and click changing. Click. Okay. And course objective and program learning outcomes relationship, artificial intelligence, working. Many universities, many departments, this syllabus not update and 2 years, 5 years, many years, but yeah, recommended and click course learning outcomes and program learning outcomes and change this table and contribution, connect to each other. If you change anything, it is changed in everywhere. And course catalogs and course and program learning outcomes, course learning outcome matrix, changing everything. If you want any course lecture notes, click, very easy. Click. Academician work this system beginning of semester, about 10 years, 10 days, and update our courses. After that, per lesson, beginning of lesson and click, choose, and courses, and choose a week, for example, and automatically coming and course material, this. Before students working this material, if you want and notebook LM, I think very user-friendly system, students and video and podcast and anything work before. Academician, firstly, in the, for example, 3 hours lesson, about maximum 20 minutes explain course theoretical things. Maximum 20 minutes. After that, and click this study topics. Click. And I created about 9 different study topics. Academician, after 20 minutes theoretical and implementation, about 80 and 90 minutes for critical thinking and group working and in everything, and active learning, students and academician. And create bir iki dakika bana şey yapasın. Bak, internetten dolayı. Benden dolayı değil.
Can other universities use this? Or?
Yeah, our university use.
Other.
No. No. I use first semester in our university use, and after that, yeah.
So you can also outsource to give to some other one.
Other universities.
Next time, inshallah.
Free.
Free or paid?
I don't know. If you want academicians and sorry, and 4 minutes.
He's running out of time.
Study topics, and if you want academician, everything managed academician, everything. Editing is, if you want these topics and check question and manual editing. This manage academician, this system. After that, After that, create a end of lesson, create or quiz, short exam, course end of lesson, and choose a question and 5 questions and topics. If you want, create a short quiz and 1 minute for internet. Addition instruction. If you want academician, addition prompt this click. For example, this issue very important is things. But this system is very simple and user-friendly system. Quiz created. Bundan sonra toparlayacağım.
We are waiting for the quiz.
Yeah. İnternet. Yeah. But this quiz, no, internet, it is problem, but create a quiz. Okay, also. In this system, sorry, integrate this system, facilities course update to ensure alignment between course and program learning outcomes, foster a learning process that develops reasoning, analytic thinking, and critical thinking, rather simply transfer information. As a result of accreditation process, become more efficient. Internet, yeah. Yeah, okay. And this courses 5 question, but if you want academician editing this, make the harder and change question and manual edit. Very and this writing before because and per question connect to course learning outcomes and program learning outcomes. Connect and 1 minute. Okay. Can internet olsa çabuk olacak, tamam. Yeah. Yeah. For example, this program and program course learning outcomes 1, course learning outcomes 2, question for course learning outcomes 2 and 3, program learning outcomes connect. After that, and download this course, answer students and midterm exam and create an assignment and every courses. And after midterm exam, analyze before things and course and midterm exam and assessment and quiz and others, personal individual learning management after that. Because students and score high and level for this end of semester and analyze this system and program course learning outcomes score average and
program learning outcomes scores and click this any students and students program learning outcomes score and course learning outcomes score. After then, accreditation had many accreditation connect to learning outcomes. Accreditation system, heart of accreditation is learning outcomes. But we explain these learning outcomes and accreditation is very easy. And accreditation traditional approach and is there a course syllabus? But now our course outcomes truly measured and was an exam conducted which learning outcomes did the exam measure and did the instructor and from traditional approach and new approach only an output, not input. Because in this system, an accreditation is very easy. You know this picture? The last picture. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Elmas. Now it's time to get questions. Yes, please.
So for the pyramid that you have presented, for the design of and moving that, obviously, for the where the issue place of
I will open up the prep.
Sorry. Take that chip.
Okay. So the question was, why should Turkey kind of get there? Yes. So I had to go. I had to go through that slide really fast, although it was one of the most important part of the presentation. So,
Slide gösterisi diyeceğiz hocam.
okay, so I guess it's up there.
Noktadan ilerletebiliriz hocam.
So this is the triangle, the hierarchy. I couldn't explain it. The lowest level is which actually has the software to develop for hardware development. Then the is wafer fab equipment, which actually creates, designs the fabrication equipment in the manufacturing facilities of chips. As you can see, there was a company called ASML there, which is the companies that lots of Aselsan engineers actually went into working for. So they develop the fab facilities and fabless companies and fabless companies which have a fab to develop, they just use TSMC facilities, Taiwan facilities, and chip foundries. If we target chip foundry, this is going to be very expensive, and as you have seen,
lots of money needs to go into this, and the longevity of such facilities is not that long. So after 2-4 years, you have to, iterate and go create a new fab investment, which is highly expensive when you consider the limits of Turkey right now. So I think the best option would be to go for companies that actually fabless domain. So that would be the possible area. We can architect our own designs, our own chips, or using open source tool sets like RISC-V, and then create based implementations for those chip foundries. So I think that would be the best option.
Design GPUs, not really most NVIDIA, but people can do tasks for us.
Actually, in terms of design, chip design of CPU, GPU, custom hardware, there are many companies or research institutes. So it's a lot that we have in terms of manpower, and the ones who actually are well in this area usually go to overseas or for working, because there are not enough companies that will be supporting such workforce. So I think definitely that's an area that we can invest easily in terms of funding that might be needed for that. But there's a lot of way there to go, I guess. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for any of the presenters? It seems there are no. Yes, please.
One thing is, about AI, considering a lot of diversity, this, that, but it's always given as a standalone number. I guess maybe just a suggestion, as a comparison, maybe like you can tell how much an electrical car is used, so the number of electrical cars consuming for energy compared to GPUs. I don't know, at least, you have to see some sort of reference to see. I don't know, are you comparing like GPUs to my phone? Of course
not. But it's a huge energy consumer. Maybe I should have put a slide that kind of shows it with a country, for example. I had a slide back in another presentation, but not in this one. But yeah, you're right. It's putting it in a better perspective for the listener. Yeah. Yeah, I would guess, but yeah.
Saying things about AI.
Yeah, I would guess, but I'm not sure about the numbers. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for questions and answers. And I would like to invite Professor Lee to the stage to present the presenter's certificates of attendance. Okay.
Yes, I can say. Yeah, we have. Öyle mi olacak yoksa?
Thank you. Açın şey ya.
Bilgisayar bölümündesin. Evet. Kalmışsınız. Yapacak mısın? Şöyle kalmışsın. Yani çok şöyle bir şey olur arasında gözüm bu kadar bitti onların. Mesela hocam hocam soru fotoğraf aslında böyle sürmüş.
Gerçekten.
Distinguished participants, we have now come to the end of the first day of the TÜBİTAK International Symposium on Artificial Intelligence in Higher Education. We sincerely thank key speakers, session chairs, volunteers, and participants for their contributions. We look forward to welcoming you again tomorrow at 10 p.m. for the second day of the symposium. Following the conclusion of today's program, transportation will be provided to return to the hotel. We are also pleased to invite participants to join us for dinner till at 7 p.m. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.
Otele mi geçiyorsun yemeğe?
I think, yeah, that's the same.
Olur hocam.
Yemeğe hak ettik değil mi? Tabii. Zaten biz
Bayağı. Yorumlarım çok.
daha